We talked a little bit last chapter about what things were due and all that, and I kind of brushed over it because I didn't want to really explain it at the time. But make sure as you're getting used to this next unit that you understand there are some new requirements to what's going on whenever you watch these videos. First off, you're going to need your own paper and something to write with. Now, there's not going to be a lot of notes and not a lot for you to write, but if you do not write it, then it's going to actually affect your grade in a negative way, because I'm going to be checking that before you leave every day that we have a video. Secondly, when you see the phrase "write this," and it's going to be "write this" with an exclamation point, kind of like I'm trying to show some excitement, be sure to write it down. Again, that represents your participation grade. So if I've got 3 sections that say "write this," write those 3 sections. There's not going to be a lot of writing, but just make sure whenever it says "write this" that you write it down. That way I know that you're getting the notes that you need, the main notes that you need to keep up with the information. Getting higher into math means that you don't need as many notes anymore, because it's not so much explanation. You just need the main ideas of what the information is doing. And so that's why we're using our own paper, because I don't need to print out the sheets that you read anymore. For the most part, you are getting smart enough and skilled enough to where you can actually start to kind of follow what's going on, and as long as you care to do it, you will be able to do it. Again, before class is over, what I will do is come around and check your notes and give you full, half, or no credit, a plus for full, a check for half, and 0 for no credit. Again, full credit means you wrote everything that I asked you to write. Half credit means that you tried to be slick and you skipped over a part and said, "Oops, I didn't know it, or I didn't see it." But again, no credit just means pretty much you only did a little bit, and you pretty much didn't. You wasted a whole video and a day of information. So again, make sure you're writing the "write this" portion so you can have what you need. The rest of the video that I have that does not say "write this" is there for you to watch, learn, and use as a guide for your Math Excel assignment that follows, because there will be one that follows every video. And as I said, just watch it, pay attention. You can keep the video up for whenever you go to your Math Excel if you need some assistance on it, or you can ask me or ask somebody else. But again, every other part of the video is a watching thing. It's not for you to copy all the assignments or copy all the problems that are up there and copy everything that I write. Just make sure you are watching to learn, and then once you know it, you should be good. For those who finish first, you might have to remind me to activate the Math Excel assignment, because otherwise I get people who watch the video and do the Math Excel at the same time, and based off of what I know about the length of the video, it should not happen within a certain amount of time. So make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and then whoever finishes first will remind me to set up that assignment, or just raise your hand and say, "Hey, is the Math Excel assignment up?" and I'll try to get that going for you. Other than that, let's get into the problems that we're going to be dealing with. It's kind of a review because you've seen this stuff before. Remember, I told you that Chapter 4 was a tough unit. The main reason it was tough is because the stuff that it was asking you to do is stuff that you have to know how to do in general. One of the things it's going to do is give you a table, and it's going to ask if the rate of change is constant first. Well, whenever you do that, remember that what we did was we looked at these numbers, and those numbers, but we're going to make it more formal this time because I need to see some actual work. And if you don't show me this work, then it's going to affect your quizzes and tests. The way that you do this is you always start with the second minus the first, and we know that we put this number on top, so we're going to do 520 minus 260 over second minus first, which is 2 minus 1. 520 minus 260 ends up being 260 over 1, which if you were to divide, that would be 260. Alright, checking out the other part, looking here, 780 to 520. Again, second number first, 780 minus 520 over second number minus first number, 3 minus 2. 780 minus 520 is 260. 3 minus 2 is 1, which means that ends up being 260 also. And then the last one that we want to check is 1040 minus 780. Again, if you don't show me this part, you're not going to get credit this unit. Over 4 minus 3. 1040 minus 780 is also 260. And 4 minus 3 is 1, which is also 260. So when they ask, is it constant? It's kind of like when they asked last unit if it's linear, because all these things are 260. Yes is your first answer because it is constant. And what does it represent? It means that for every minute, the distance increases by 260, and this says feet, by 260 feet. So it means that they are moving 260 feet per minute for the most part. But again, notice that you've done this before. It's just that now you have to actually show me second number minus first number over second number minus first number. Again, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, why do I have to do all this writing? It's because eventually you're going to have negative numbers and positives and negatives all mixed in there, and you need to have this work shown whenever you do it. Otherwise, it's going to start affecting your grade. So other than that, write down this part here because these words all mean the same thing. Notice it asks for the rate of change, and what we actually found was the common difference. So rate of change is the same thing as slope, which is also the same thing as what we did before, which was the common difference. These are all words that mean the same thing. When we found the common difference last unit, we were actually finding the slope of the table. We were also finding the rate of change of the table. All three of those words are interchangeable, and they mean all the same thing. And so looking at problem 2, they want to know what the slope of the values is in the table. And so again, what we want to do is make sure we check a couple things. Checking these two, we do second minus first, so we will do 39 minus 33 over 16 minus 13. Notice again, you're doing these two numbers, so 39 minus 33 over 16 minus 13, always second minus first. 39 minus 33 is 6, 16 minus 13 is 3, 6 divided by 3, if I check it out, is a nice number 2, which means that that is a rate of change of 2, or a slope of 2. Let's make sure that it's both times, so we'll do 47, remember it's the second minus the first, 47 minus 39 over 20 minus 16. 47 minus 39 is 8, 20 minus 16 is 4, and 8 divided by 4 is also 2, which means that the slope is 2. It is constant, which means it is linear, which means that if I graph this thing, it should look like a straight line. There's a lot of things that you learned last unit that tells you what you needed to know. The only difference is that now we are doing it showing the actual fraction instead of just kind of winging it. So make sure you are ready and willing to show those steps, otherwise you're going to have an issue with what's going on. This is a write this problem. What it means whenever it's a write this problem, it means to write this table. You don't need to write all the questions because you understand what it is by just what the information is, but this will guide you through a lot of the questions that you're going to see on today's work. Again, remember, you have to work today for 100%, and if you don't have 100%, you should still be on the computer until you have 100%. But we'll talk about that in a second. I was just giving you time to write the table. But again, here's how you find the rate of change. Again, second to first. So we do 46 minus 18, and we write it out, putting it over 10 minus 6. 46 minus 18, if we don't know what it is, we subtract it, we get 28. 10 minus 6, if you don't know what it is, just type it in, get the answer of 4. And 28 divided by 4 is 7. So your rate of change is 7. Again, remember, rate of change is the same as slope. It is also the same as common difference. This is where your grades will start to change. A lot of your grades are higher than they should be because of the electronic grade that I gave you. But here again is where if you do not get 100% on the Math XL, then your grade is going to slowly start to drop. So while you're here, again, work for your 100%. You can ask each other for assistance, just as long as you're not cheating. You can bring it up to me, and I'll be glad to try to help you understand what's going on. But you should be working on the computer part first, because that represents your actual electronic grade for the day, and you're going to get one of these electronic grades for every day. So if you get a 40 or if you only get 4 out of 5 questions right today, you can always come back and fix them. They're due on March 3rd, but again, I think that it's in your best interest to go ahead and get your 100% today, so you don't have to come back and try to make up anything later on. So again, go ahead and get to the Math XL portion of this. The title is going to be today's, actually it's going to be today's date, which is, I believe, February 6th. So Other than that, good luck.